Well, hello there. So I'm going to do a short row owl eye purse. And so this is what it looks like. It's going to end up being folded with the part that comes down. It's going to look pretty darn nice, I think. And so you need to catch up to me anyway, but here's what it's going to be looking like, the pattern. It's pretty nice. And the yarn I'm using is, I love this chunky yarn, and the color is cinnamon cedar. Okay, so it's this combination of colors, and it's a chunky yarn, and I'm using a Cindywood loom, and that loom is a 42 peg loom, 5/8 inch gauge, and I'm using, I think it was 19 pegs, but let's count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I used 21 pegs. You need to mark 3 pegs at the end any way that you like to on this end, and you need to mark 3 pegs on that end. And that's for the reason that we want the sides of the short row purse to be straight. And it's important for a purse for them to be straight. If you were to do your short rows all the way to the edge, you get this real wavy, bumpy kind of style. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to get started, and to start with this initial piece, and to keep going to catch up to me. And so I will just put this down, and we'll use the same yarn, and we'll show you how to get going and get up to this point. Okay, and then we will come back here and work on this one. And okay, so we will see you after. So we're just going to take the yarn and make it into a slip knot, and slip it on the first peg and tighten it. And what I'm going to do on this sample is only do 2 pegs at the end, but you should do 3. Okay, so then once I've done that, I'm going to put my loom hook right in here, and then scoop up the yarn, and I'm going to do a crochet chain cast on. So I just take this loop and put it behind. You can drop this now, put it behind the peg, take the working yarn, put it through, and snug it up. And you want this to stay tight, so you might want to pull that so that that peg doesn't get loose. And you go to the next one, snug it up, loop behind. You can make the loop smaller or bigger if you need to. Snug it up. I'm going to go right to my last peg, and I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to put the working yarn over it, and I'm just going to knit it off. Now, because I'm using owl eye, I don't have to do anything except go right into the stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go over the first 2 pegs. I'll try to get this better in here. Okay, and focusing a little more light. Okay, so then we just put the working yarn over these 2 pegs, and we're just going to knit them off. And then wherever we are, we're on peg 1, we're going to go over peg 1 and 2 and knit it off. And this is the stitch we'll be using all the way through, owl eye stitch. So on peg 1, we go over 1 and 2, knit it off. We're on peg 1, we go over 1 and 2, knit it off. We're on peg 1, over 1 and 2, and then knit. And we're going to do a couple rows of owl eye, so we have a good base to start doing the pattern. Okay, so it's the same thing you do, however big you make it, except you want it straight. Use about 3 pegs instead of 2. And then I'm just going to come back and do another row of owl eye. And you just do it nice and loose, because then it makes it really easy to knit. Your wrist won't get sore. And it'll be a lot more fun just knitting away and not struggling. So keep it nice and loose if you can. You can always, if you find you're going too tight, just pull on it so that this is looser. Okay, so now I've done another row. So now I'm going to start right into doing the scarf. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit all down, and this will always be the peg we start doing our short row on, because we're never going to do the marked pegs with the markers on. Okay, so I just knit down, just doing owl eye all the way down. We'll always be using owl eye as the stitch we use. Okay, and I come down, and that's this one I'm going to short row, so I go over as if I'm going to owl eye it and put that on, and instead of knitting it, I pull it, not so tight I break the peg, but just tight enough that I'm going to have a nice short row there. Okay, and then you can pull it a bit, and then I just knit back. Just like that. I'm just gonna correct that. That fell down, and there we go. Just knit back. There. Okay, and then we knit back, and this time we're going to do a short row. We're going to do is use the wrap and turn method. And we go down to the next peg that doesn't have 2 stitches on it already. Okay, and we're going to come around, and we're going to knit that one off, and we're just going to wrap and turn with this one. And that's all there is to it. And it's pretty easy. It's just doing short rows and then reversing direction. I could actually tell what the pattern is just by looking at it. So don't think to yourself, this is hard. It's really not. And now this is the one we're going to catch in, because see, we've got 2 loops on those ones. So we're going to come over, get this one off. This one's the wrap and turn. It doesn't get knit off. And then just knit it and come back over our pegs. Okay, then we come back again, and we always want to keep these ends nice and loose. Okay, we come back, knit this one. This is our short row. It's our last short row because we never do the marked pegs. Okay, and we're going to knit it off. And then come back and knit it normally as an owl eye stitch. And then come back over. And now we're going to pick up this entire row. So we're just going to keep knitting all the way down to the end. And this will be our first zig looking thing in the short row scarf. That's all there is to it. Now we're just going to be changing the direction we go. So we're just knitting everything off all the way down. Coming back in the owl eye stitch. And now we're going to keep knitting this way all the way up to the first peg that's not the marked. Whoop, and see, I accidentally knit this, so all I have to do is take it off, put the loop back on that was on there, and short row it instead. So that's the first one in the short row now, is this one beside the 2 marked pegs. Okay, now we're just going to knit this all the way down. And come back. And we're going to do the next one. Okay, so this one has the 2 loops on it. Now we're going to do this one. So we're just going to pull it in the short row and knit it in an owl eye and come back. So it's pretty easy. You just keep doing the same thing. Doing the short row and then changing your direction when you've done them all. Knit back and change your direction. And look what I did again. I knit it by accident. So I just take that off, slip the loop back on, do it in the short row and come back. I come back around. And now I'm going to pick up this last one. So knit this one off, short row, knit to the end. Okay, and so I'm completed the zig and the zag, and so I'm just going to come back now and knit it all the way to the end. And you just take over these 2 loops as one. Whoop. And if you ever find it hard to take them over, you can take them over. Whoopsie, this one fell off. If you ever find it hard, you can take them over one at a time like that. Okay? But it's my angle and I kind of slipped. I have to try to keep this in view, and I'm not knitting in the way that's most comfortable for me. Okay. So here we are at the end of the row. Oop. Okay. So now what do? Well, we come back down, knit all the way down here, and we'll start doing this one here into the short row, the one beside the 2 marked pegs, and go back. So you can take a look at what we're doing, and it's all one color, so it's harder to see. But because we've done 2, it's fairly straight. We've done the zig and we've done the zag. But it's hard to see them on here, but here you can see right here is where we switched direction. This was the first wedge and this was the second wedge. And if we just keep going, we're going to get that shape. So I'm going to do one more wedge, and then you should know how to do it. So now we're going to go this way. I'm having a hard time keeping this in the camera here. Okay, we're going to go this way. There. And we're going to do the short row right here. Come all the way back. And come back, and then we're going to pick up the next one in the short row. That's one right here. Pull it into the short row. And go up and pick the next one. I'm just going to put you on pause for a moment and see if I can straighten out what's happening with the camera here. Okay. I think I've got it. And then we're going to go back and pick up the next one. Short row. Only one more to pick up. Of course, there's a lot more when you do the right size scarf. This will be very narrow. So we get the right angle here. There we go. And we just pick up the last one. And we've done another short row. Then we just go back and pick up all the stitches and go the other direction. And now you can see that the scarf is getting more crooked. It's coming down like this. And that's because we got the zigzag happening, although you're not going to see it much on this sample piece because it's all the same color. So it's kind of important with these zigzag scarves to use a variegated yarn of some kind with a short color run so that you can see the zigging and the zagging. Okay, so I'll just put you on pause. We'll go back to the other piece. Okay, so here we are, and this is the same yarn, but because we did it so short, we only had this color. But now I have exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I did 21 pegs on this one, and so this is the width I have, which is a nice width for a scarf. But do a swatch so you can see with your color run how it's going to look. You want it to have enough that you see a nice big color play. Okay, so that's what this one looks like, and this is what it looks like on the back. You could use the back too. It's showing the zigzag, and I like owl eye on the back. Okay, so now you know how to do it. So you're just going to go back and forth doing the zigzag, and on here I have, like I say, the 3 end pegs. So when I'm doing the short row, you can see I've started the short row going this way, and I've got them here, and of course I never knit those. So I did those, right? And then I'm on my way back. So that's all there is to it, and you just keep. Okay, so I've got as far as I'm going to go, so we can count the wedges. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wedges to get the length I want, and then half a wedge right here. Okay, so that's the length that I wanted. As it comes up, you'll see it's going to be a nice size, and then come over into the bag. So how you're going to end is you're going to start doing your short row and then only do half of your short row. Okay, so these are the pegs you don't do, of course, that are marked. So here's the pegs that aren't marked. So you're just going to divide that in half, and you're only going to short row half of them. And then we're going to go back after you come back, and we're just going to pick them all up. And the reason we're doing that is so that we get a straight edge right here instead of a slanted one. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to go down and pick them all up. So we go owl eye all the way down. Oh, this is going to be such a nice purse. I'm really excited. I really needed to have some bags here. I can carry things with me, have a fun summer taking things with me when I go places. Okay, so we just keep going. We do owl eye all the way to the end, and we're just going to pick up all these short rows. We just go to the end of the row. Okay, so now we've got a nice straight edge here with it going straight. And what we're going to do is bind off. So we're going to take this working yarn and we're going to wrap it around 3 times so that we know that we'll have long enough yarn to bind it off. Okay, and then we just cut it. Okay, and then you're going to get a yarn needle, thread the needle. Okay, so let's bind it off. So we've got the needle threaded, and we're just going to go behind this first peg, and we're going to go down the second peg. Okay, like that. And we're going to come back around and go up this first peg. Okay, and then we're going to go around, and we're going to go down the next peg like that from the back, up the peg before. Okay, picking it up. Then we're going to come around from the back and go down the new peg. We come back around and go up the peg before. And go around and go down the new one. Back and go up the one before, around, down the new one, come back and go up the one before, around the new one, or around the back, down the new one, and then up the one before. And you're going to do that all the way to the end. So I will be meeting you up there. See you in a bit. Okay, so I'm near the end, so I just went down, up the one before, and around. And we're going to go down the new one, the very end, up the one before, and then I'm just going to go up this one there, and then we'll just when we take it off, we'll just secure it with a knot through, and you get the, all right, so we'll take it off the loom. I'll start on this end we've already done, and just slowly just keep taking it off. You might be able to just pull it off with your fingers, but I'm taking it gently off with the loom hook. Okay, and then I'm going to just take this and put it through that loop to secure it, but I just wanted to make sure my tightness was just what I wanted before I did it, so it looks really good here. So I'm just going to tighten that up, and there is our finished piece, and we just stretch it a little bit, and there it is. That's our edge. Okay, so now here we go, and we have this off the loom. And what we're going to do is we are going to join it. So what you want to do is you want to bring it up to approximately where you're going to be joining it, and figure out the height that you want and where this is going to come down. Okay, so if you had it lower, this would be coming down further like this. If you had it higher, this would be coming down like this. So you're going to make that decision of how far your flap is going to come over. I kind of like mine right there. Okay, and then what you want to do is clip them. So I'm just going to get some clips. So I've got 2 of these safety pin stitch markers. So I'm just going to use this to clip this together right where I'm going to be stitching it up to, so that I remember where that is. And here. And then I'll just look at it and make sure it's straight and it's perfect, and I will adjust my clips if I need to. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn it inside out and join these 2 sides together up to my clips. Okay, and I have a video of how to do that, so we'll go over to that video, and we'll see you after we get the sides joined and we do the next thing. So see you then. Thread your needle, and make sure that you've got it nice and straight there, and then we're just going to sew it. So I'm going to come in at the very bottom here, and I have a knot in the end of this, so I'm going to come in and do that. And then all you're going to do, although you can sew this any way you like, is I'm just going to come in this side here. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to the very end over here. And I'm actually going to make sure that there, it's nice and tight. And then you've come in here, so you're going to look for the next little loop. And if you look at the side here, you're going to see that under where the end is, there's always, see where the end attaches, you have some holes. So all you're going to do is take this and go down into the next hole, and you'll see two loops there, which is the edge. I'm picking those up. And I'm going to come over to this other side, and I'm going to go into where I came out of, just right there. And then I'm going to go down from where I came out of on this side. I'm going to go down the next hole, and you'll see that there's, yarn is so thick, but there's two loops there. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to go back over to where I came out on the other side. And then on this other side, I'm going to go over to the next place. Make sure I get it. There we go. Two loops. And then I'm going to go back up. Last place I came out of. And then I'm going to go down the next place. So you can see them here, here, here. Okay. And I'm going to go down the next one. And then back over where I came out of last time. And down the next one over. And then back up where I came out of. And down the next one. Back where I came out of. And down the next one. And back where I came out of. And down the next one. That's all you do, all the way down. Okay, and right now, just I'm going to actually pull this snug. You don't have to do it till you want to do it, but I like to leave knots all the way down because I don't want this to come undone, so I'm just going to do a knot. And I'm just going to do that sporadically as I go down. So you're just going to keep going, and if you want to look at what it looks like, it's just going to be all nice and attached here. Okay, so finish, and when we get close to the edge here, we will catch up. Okay, and then when you get up to the end here, you can take out your clip and make sure you attach it really good right here. And you can look to make sure it's attached really well and tie some good knots in it. Make sure I get the absolute edge here. There. And then tie a good knot. Okay, and then you're just going to weave the ends in. And just weave it in enough to keep it secure, and you can It's a bag, so if you want to, you can tie more knots in it. And then when you've got it all secured, you can just cut it off. Okay, well, here it is. So I did the sides, I put down the flap, and all I did here was sew on a couple buttons on the purse in locations where I could, I would want to button it up. And the buttons are just going through, you know, places in the yarn in between the ally stitch. So you can see the holes there are just perfect for buttons. You don't even have to do any kind of holes or whatever. You can just put it through where you want to secure it. And then I made an ally strap and attached it inside. I just sewed it in to the side here on both sides, just sewed it in, right? And there's my sides all attached. They're all attached. So now to do this, all I did was I cast on 5 pegs, just the same way I cast on when I started this. So you know how to do that cast on. Then I knit back and forth, same way I did this, but with no short rows, just back and forth with ally, and then I cast off the same way that I showed you and attached it. And I just made it the length I want. I want it to go across the body. So that's what I did. So here's what the strap looks like. An ally stitch there, and here's what the bag looks like, and at the back of it, I mean, you know what it looks like, and like I say, if you wanted to, you could use the inside instead, but I used the outside. And so there we are, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed doing it. You can put any kind of button you want. You could do a loop with a closure just here, or not have any buttons, just have it go right over. I just wanted to be sure nothing would fall out, and I had 2 matching buttons, so I put them on. And it's just really a beautiful purse. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy making it, and until next time, bye.